On this episode of the Create Podcast, I am in Made Shop in Riverside. So it's near the corner of Magnolia and Central over by the Riverside Plaza. I sat down with local artist Steve Van Stockum. He's a Riverside native, went to UCR. He's an incredible artist. He paints everything from local Riverside landmark, the Rain Cross, to Porsches, which he's a huge Porsche enthusiast like I am. He even has it on cups and postcards, just really cool stuff. He has a couple Porsches, 356, so I'm super jealous, but absolutely love it. But if you haven't been to Made Shop, you definitely want to come check it out. If you're looking for a gift or you're just a local creative and you want to see what's out there, definitely recommend you coming out. But I hope you enjoy this conversation as much as I did, sitting down with local artist Steve Van Stockum.
This is the Create Podcast.
Riverside native, born and
Yeah,
raised.
where'd you go to high school?
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame, okay.
Down the street.
Just down the street. Yeah, my wife and I went to North.
Oh, my wife went to Ramona.
Okay.
Yeah.
Her parents went to North, and then one of our sons graduated from North, so love being in Riverside. So, so all that on the wall, that's all yours, right?
Yes.
Yeah. When did the kind of art bug first get you? How did it start?
Oh, gosh. I think the first paintings I started doing were like in high school, like freshman
Okay.
kind of thing. And my dad painted, so that got me interested in trying it. And,
Yeah.
you know, I was always good at like cartooning, sketching, that kind of stuff and everything.
Okay, so is that where it started? Sketching? Yeah. What was... I'm not a very good artist, but I was always sketching when I was a kid, and my thing was Garfield. Like, I was always drawing.
Oh, I did the Peanuts gang.
Peanuts,
As a matter of fact, we've made... it's for Halloween, and for Christmas we have Peanuts lawn decorations. I just got plywood, sketched it out, painted it, and I make copies for people every now and again too.
Okay, very cool. So sketching, and then what was your... So was this pencil probably you started with?
Oh yeah, pencil, ink, that kind of stuff, and
And then when did you first start getting into painting? Was it painting, or did you do watercolors, or what was that transition?
It was oils basically, yeah. And some of the stuff behind me, there may be a few up there from like the 70s and everything. But, and I went to UCR, and through college too, I would do some paintings every now and again and sell them and everything just for fun. Like that's how I got into the old cars and everything too. You could get an old Porsche 356 back then for not that much money. Yeah. Repair it, sell it for a profit. And as a college kid, you're like, hey, that's a great way to get extra money.
Yeah. I had a 911 poster on my wall when I was a little kid, and I was obsessed with Porsches. And when I got into middle school, going into high school, back then you can get a 914 for super cheap.
Oh yeah,
really cheap.
Yeah.
And I remember begging my dad to get one and fix it up, because 911 or anything else they weren't like they are now. This is back in the early 90s,
right?
But still out of my reach. But it's like like a 914, I can do that, but
they're
I still
a fun little car.
Yeah, I still love the 914s.
Yeah,
but the 356 though, that's
that
you have a 62.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's you can see it up here in the left.
Yeah.
A couple shots there in the middle. Yeah.
Is
one on the right?
Is it red?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long have you had it?
We got it. Oh gosh. I think back in '99, I think it was. It was a basket case and everything. And there was a whole story with that, too. The guy we got it from had it for a long time. It had been sitting outside in the carport for a while, and he was asking $4,500 for it, and which was a fair price. It was complete, but it had rust. It needed everything.
Yeah.
And I had to come back with family, and my two daughters at the time were young, and his wife baked cookies and had hot chocolate and put on some Disney videos, and basically I was interviewed, me and my wife, for an hour or so by the guy.
Oh, and if to take it?
Yeah, he wanted it to go to a good home, to someone that would fix it up, keep it, not try to make a buck on it and everything like that. And we got done. He said, okay, I'll sell you the car, $700.
Oh my gosh.
And I've seen he has since passed away. He had cancer. I didn't know at the time.
Yeah.
But I've taken the car back, showed the widow and everything
Wow.
like that too. And I kept my word. I'm not selling it.
Yeah, that's awesome. When I went to school in the Carolinas, and then we came back, but I was in North Carolina, outside of Raleigh, and I met a guy that had, I think it was in 1956, and his dad had bought it brand new.
Oh, that's cool.
And only been to 2 mechanics ever. His dad had it, always in the garage, and now he had it. And that was the first time I like got to sit in one, a real one. So it was like, oh, just love those cars.
They're fun.
What else do you have? You have 911?
A 95, 911, and 993
Okay.
is the internal code for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the white one at the
Yep.
very top there. Yeah, that's a little picture of it by PCH and
Yeah.
everything. And the other one I have, if you look at the yellow picture in the middle, it's kind of copper brown metallic. It's a 76 912E.
Okay.
And they only made 2,099 of those in that 1 year.
Not very many. Yeah.
So
I almost bought a 914 a few years back. We're in North Carolina, and then I didn't, and then I ended up buying a VW Bug. It's a 67.
yeah,
But my next one, I want to get a 914. So.
they're cool little cars.
Yeah,
I've got
they're
that
fun.
little. Where is it up there? It's probably on the mug over here. But yeah, I have a little orange 914
Oh, you do?
that well not that
The
I
mug,
own,
on
but
a mug, yeah.
the painting I did. So it's probably on a mug or
If it's still there,
something down here.
Still
so.
there, I'll probably have to take it. So what did you, at UCR, what did you study?
Biology,
Biology.
pre-med.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's your full-time main job? What do you do?
Well, I'm retired right now,
Yeah.
but I'm a registered environmental health specialist with the state of California. I retired as director of Riverside County Environmental Health.
Okay.
Did environmental health for close to 39 years, right out of college. Started in San Bernardino County, came to Riverside, went back to San Bernardino, start their hazmat programs, and then came back to Riverside, and that's where I stayed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did you, obviously high school started painting and doing art. Has it pretty much been a part of your life the whole time, or did you get away from it and come back?
It's always kind of been there in one way or the other. I mean, getting back into the oil paintings was kind of like hit and miss, especially when the kids came along and everything like that. But,
Yeah.
you know, I slowly was getting back into it. So, yeah. So now being retired, I have more time.
Yeah. Yeah. And when did you start selling your stuff here and made?
Yeah, it's probably about 3 years ago.
3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's funny because I had sold or given paintings to people in the past, but when you start putting it out here, like on a retail thing, you know, you're kind of putting yourself out there, like,
Yeah.
are they going to like it? Are they not going to like it? You know, and so the stuff has been selling pretty good. I try to bring new stuff out all the time, especially Riverside themed stuff. People seem to
Yeah.
really like that. The one that we haven't made a copy yet to bring down here is that Chinese pavilion or pagoda down by the main library.
Yeah.
So that's going to be one of the next ones coming down. And
Okay.
we have some different rain cross ones too. One more like a spring flower rain cross that should be down here like by next week. And then I did a Day of the Dead kind of rain cross thing with a skull stuff, which looks pretty good.
Yeah. That's awesome. What's the size of that one you're bringing down?
The pagoda one is probably like 18 by 24, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. And one of the newest, biggest ones they just put up on the wall here is that clock that we have on the Main Street Mall, catty corner from the Mission Inn.
Yeah.
So that was kind of fun to do.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I like
Yeah.
that one. So I'm curious to ask you. Anytime I find someone that is born in Riverside and been here, especially the whole time, I feel like I have a unique perspective. That born and raised here, lived here till I went away to school, college, and then I was gone for 15 years, and then we moved back like 2 years ago, and so I've always tried to distinguish like coming back and having a new perspective on Riverside from growing up. Obviously, there's a 15-year time span and things change.
Right.
But then I have a different set of eyes. I have 40-something-year-old eyes instead of 20-something-year-old eyes. And so it's automatically going to look different too. But so I'm always curious in talking to people that I've been asking this question, like, especially over the last 20 years, kind of the evolution of Riverside. Like, one of the things that I didn't notice, and I think it's a lot more prevalent today, but I also just probably didn't care because I was a kid, is just the rain cross and the Riverside pride and that seems to have changed over the last 15, 20 years or strengthened. And I'm sure it was that way at one point, and I don't know if I just grew up in a time period where it wasn't as prevalent and popular, but just curious what what your perception is of that and experience being here.
I've noticed too. It was always out there, the rain cross and that kind of stuff. You always had, I think, a smaller group of people that were really into that. But now it seems to really have taken off. I think through older, younger people in the city. And you're right. There seems to be more pride in Riverside. I hear people say all the time too that it's a big city, but it's like a small town. Everyone seems to know each other. They remember this. They, have memories of that and everything. And it's really kind of true when you start talking with people. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because most people have that response like, oh yeah, I didn't realize that. But for me, going out and coming back and seeing the difference, it's like I remember I went to my great grandmother's house when I was in my 20s and hadn't been there forever, and I was like, those trees get smaller? Like, are those different trees? Like, no, you're just much bigger now. So your perception is quite different. But yeah, I'm always curious. And did you ever leave Riverside, or you've been here the whole time?
Been here the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how many kids did you guys have?
Two.
Two
girls.
Or did they stay local?
Yeah, they're still both local. My eldest daughter, Stephanie, we have 2 grandchildren with her, Evelyn and Emily. She works for County Transportation Land Management Agency, and my youngest daughter, Jill, was working for Orange County Environmental Health, same profession that I was in, and then a couple of years ago switched to Riverside County Environmental Health.
Okay.
So,
either of them artistic?
They both are.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're both pretty artistic. Yeah. So we've done stuff together. Different artwork and stuff and everything. And, it's funny when they were little too, like school projects and everything. I was always into model trains. They helped me build a little N-scale train board in the garage. So when you had school projects, I had all the stuff to make really neat,
That helps.
Yeah.
Where most parents are scrambling, like, we need to run here, we need to run there,
right.
grab this. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's how usually I was. So we had we do have 6 kids. And so it was always scrambling, like, oh, I need this. Run to Michael's or wherever to grab stuff.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite method right now? Like, what are you into mostly?
Painting ones?
Yeah.
It's what the mood, strikes me. And it's funny. I've had people say, do you do, plein air painting outside or this or that? And it's funny. We got a 3-car garage, and I've got 3 easels set up in the garage all the time. So when the mood strikes, you just throw a canvas on there, and and you can tell from the paintings too that it's all over the place. I mean, the elephant painting up there, call it Elefante. I don't know where it is. Oh, there's one of it, right? The elephant walking away.
Yeah.
But when the kids were little, like you go to a restaurant, I showed them how you could draw real quick, like on a napkin, just an elephant walking away. And so that's what prompted that one. And also, I think that TV show, NCIS, there's a painting, the front side of the elephant, I think, it's sitting and looking at you or something like that. But the joke in the show, it's the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
So I used that same kind of color background when I did my version of the stuff here. So.
Okay.
But yeah, it's whatever strikes me. The picture up on the wall behind me of the guy looks like he's walking on the beach with his hands behind him. That was a picture of my friend Damien. He was killed in the terrorist attack.
Oh wow.
In San Bernardino County, and his daughter, my goddaughter. They were out of the Salton Sea, and they took a picture of him walking like that. So that's my kind of interpretation of the picture she took.
Oh, okay.
So.
Oh, that's very cool.
Yeah.
That was a few years back. It was a shooting, right? And one.
It was December 2nd, 2015, and our department, Riverside County Environmental Health, we basically ran that department for many months in San Bernardino County. So. Yeah,
I remember we were in North Carolina. I remember watching that on TV.
Yeah.
Oh. That's terrible. So with your mugs, are those hand painted, or how do you do those?
We actually have a company that scans our paintings, and they can like what's on the canvases and everything. It's a G clay process print.
Yeah.
But once we have it scanned in, they can put the artwork on mugs like that, or like on the towels or the tiles that you see around here.
Yeah. So what other than the canvas and the mugs, what other stuff do you have?
We have kitchen towels. We have refrigerator magnets. We have like 5x7 tiles.
Okay.
That are like back into here.
Yep.
We have coasters that are soft coasters you can put your drinks on and everything. And we have ceramic coasters in the other room. Mostly, I think right now we just have 4 styles of different rain crosses that I painted. So, and those seem to be really popular.
Yeah, those are cool.
Yeah.
And then are those greeting cards?
Yes.
Postcards, yeah.
Yes. Greeting cards, those sell. We have most of our paintings on greeting cards and everything. And we've done some stuff on T-shirts and like mouse pads and everything. Like, I don't know. Oh, the Scream, my version of the Scream.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah.
Is that modeled after anybody?
Well, if you look at the painting of the Scream.
Yeah.
And then I had a friend of mine, I could show you the picture. He had a funny haircut, Ian. And he sent me a picture of himself kind of just screaming. And so this is kind of melding both of them together. And that was my interpretation of what 2020 kind of looked like. And
I know that one needs little explanation for sure, with the Scream and the look and the 2020 for sure. Do you do commission pieces at all, or?
You know, I've done some. I kind of avoid that though, because it's just it's a hobby, and you have to feel like it. And when you start a painting too, you never. You know what's in your mind. You're not quite sure exactly how it's going to show up on the canvas till you're done. And you know, I'd rather have someone see something that I've done and go, "I really like that. I'd like to buy it," versus like, "Oh yeah, I wanted you to paint that, but that's not really what I was thinking."
Yeah, it's a completely different thing. Like my brother, I have younger brothers that are twins, and he's an artist and painter. And when he was in elementary school, middle school, he first started getting into it, and he was super into Salvador Dali, and was a huge influence. And so you can imagine what his stuff looked like. I remember my mom looked like, "Daniel, is that a fetus? Like what?" And I remember probably he was in middle school, and she used to always ask him, because she was a little traumatized by his art for a little while, but super talented. And my mom just didn't quite get it at the time. But I remember my mom saying, "Daniel, can you just do like some trees and flowers and birds, and why don't you go sit out back and paint our trees?" And he's just like, "Mom, that's not how it works." I can't do it that way. Yeah.
And you know, it's interesting. Like when you look around here too, I mean, so many different styles, techniques, looks for you know, the different artists use and everything like that too. I always find that fascinating, just to see what appeals to someone.
Right.
You know, you could have 20 people look at the same work of art, and you know, 19 of them are like, "Eh," and then that one is like, "Wow, that's really great."
Yeah. Well, even from the artist's perspective, like for some people, you know, doing nature, like that's what inspires them. That's where they're able to, you know, communicate how they're feeling or express themselves. And and so I think and your stuff it comes across as very genuine and very authentic. And
thank you.
I love how it's all so different, but it's like you could see how it fits together. Yeah. You know, like a lot of artists I'll see, it's like they're all kind of cookie cutter, the same, where at first glance is that the same artist? And then once I was in here looking at it before you got here, and it's like, okay, I can see they all fit together. I can see the consistencies. I can see the inspiration for sure.
And you know, I try to. It's funny. I try to incorporate friends and stuff and things. There's a friend of mine, Chuck Stray, and Keith Jones own little sailboats down in Dana Point. Yeah. And so I did I don't know where that one right there, which is a different look. I did that one in acrylic next to the.
The sailboat.
Yeah. And I just call that one Chuck and Keith. There's a painting I did of the boathouse down at Fairmount Park, and I just call that one Andy, because my friend Andy Emery was with Riverside County Parks and Rec and was one of the key people in making that happen.
Oh, okay.
So, and people always ask, "Why Andy?" Oh, well, let me explain.
Yeah.
I have another one too of Keith Jones and everything that I used. Because I like model trains and everything. I have him with his expression as Santa, you know, done up as Santa, with a nice LGB train steam engine in front of him and everything. And it's so funny because people look at that going, I think I know that person. So, you know, then I pull up a picture of Keith. Oh, that's Keith.
That's him. Yeah. That's cool. What's, outside of like canvas and like what you're directly painting, what else? Like, have you done murals or anything like that?
I have done murals like on our kids' bedroom walls when they were young. I would do Disney stuff with Tigger and Pooh and this and that.
Okay.
And I would you know, do that for some friends and everything like that too. So, and you know, and that's a little different too when you're just freehanding something on a big, you know, wall like that. You gotta get your dimensions and stuff right. You know.
Right.
But yeah, I could nail like the Peanuts gang, the the Disney characters and everything pretty good.
Yeah.
You know.
How I've always been curious is, like I said, I'm a creative, but I'm definitely not very good at drawing and painting. It was something I always wish I could do and do better. But like when you do a mural, are you obviously you could do that on a piece of paper, but you're doing on something much larger. Like, do you just first pencil it out, or what's your process in doing that?
I'll do like a rough sketch.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then just kind of transfer to the wall. You know, I'll do a pencil sketch and everything like that, and you got to keep stepping back and looking to make sure you got your dimensions right and everything like that. Because if you don't have the dimensions, if you don't have the facial features right, it can just look kind of wonky.
Yeah.
You know,
like when someone gets a tattoo of a picture, it's a portrait and doesn't look anything like the person.
Oh, yeah.
The dimensions are off. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen some pretty bad ones of those. Do you have any? You drove your Jeep. What years? Your
That's
Jeep?
a 1950.
50.
Jeepster.
Do you have any paintings of that?
Yeah, there's the grill of it right there.
Oh, yes, right in front of me. Yeah. It's such a cool story. You said it was. Tell me the story. We were talking about it before, but
Original owner, Bill Harris was the guy's name. He owned. Riverside people will remember some restaurants down in the Rubdo area, Gay and Larry's, Palace of the Dragon. He owned Palace of the Dragon restaurant, and I have pictures of that car at his restaurant there in the 60s and 70s.
Oh, wow.
And everything. And I actually have a door because he had one time had three of them. He had a one painted Imran metallic gold with big Chinese dragon on the side. And I have a door off that car in our backyard.
Oh, really?
And actually, if you look at, somewhere back here is a dragon.
Red?
Yes.
Yeah, right behind you.
Yeah, with the Riverside Rain Cross.
Yep.
I just looked at the dragon painted on the door of the car, and I just basically drew it on that canvas and everything, put a rain cross in the corner. And
yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of a little tribute to Bill.
That's cool.
And he was a retired Air Force pilot, and he had a plane out of Flabob Airport. And once I got the car and fixed it up, and I took it out there to the Flabob Airport Cafe, and it's all the people are like, "Oh, I know that car," you know.
It has its own personality. It's like a person.
Yeah.
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 What's so in the Porsche world? Is there one that you still really want to get that you're hoping to get?
If I won the lottery, either
money was no option.
Money is no object. A 904 Porsche or a 906 or a Carrera 6, which are both, well, they say street cars, maybe, but they're race cars, and there's some people that actually have them licensed for the street around the country.
Yeah.
I don't know why you drive a multi-million-dollar car on the street like that. That would scare the heck out of me. But the design is just pretty.
Yeah.
You know.
How did your love for him start? Was it back when you were a kid, or?
Riverside Raceway, high school, going up there watching things race up there, and you're seeing these funny little cars because everyone's into the muscle cars.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you see the Corvettes, the big, horsepower stuff, and you see little funny looking German cars just when they get to the S's and everything like that, just passing everybody.
Yeah.
And then when you get the 911 era, the 930s and everything like that, well, that's they could compete head on, with anything out there. So, and Porsche's kind of cool. I mean, they've won Le Mans 19 times, more than any other manufacturer. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah. Are you involved in any clubs or?
I belong to, I think, 4 different Porsche clubs.
Okay. Yeah.
And, that's kind of good, too. Just like I belong to a Jeepster club and everything, because if you have an old car, if you join clubs like that, people you can talk to if you're having this issue or that issue.
Yeah.
Puts you in touch with a whole lot of different vendors and places to get parts and everything else. And with the Porsche Club, we actually 2 years ago went down to it's a big literature show down the LA Hilton, and we took a lot of our Porsche artwork down there, and which sold really good.
Oh, I bet.
So we're probably going to do
idea.
that again. I need to do a couple more different paintings and everything. I think I want to do a Porsche Speedster and like a Porsche 917, which is just, I don't know if you know about that car, but that's the first time that they won Le Mans outright. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you drive your 356 very often?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. You got to drive them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're just careful where you park them.
For sure.
Yeah.
I think one of the things I love about 356 too is just you hardly ever see them.
Right.
I remember seeing a picture of James Dean. He had a Spider, that gray.
A 550 Spider.
Yeah. That was like my first. I'm like, what is that car?
Yeah.
That was like my first memory of just thinking that was the coolest thing I'd ever seen.
Oh yeah. Yeah. There's companies out there that make some reproductions. Not just out of fiberglass. They do that on the Speedsters, but there's a company that makes aluminum-bodied reproductions. That,
they're not cheap.
Oh no, and they're really well done.
Yeah.
But and a lot of people say, well, it's a tribute car, and it's like, well, true, but you could buy one. You could stretch your budget and buy one, versus a real one. There's no way you're gonna touch it.
No.
Yeah.
No.
So from that standpoint, cool.
Yeah. It's crazy to see too how the value. What's your thoughts on why the value of Porsches over the last 10, 15 years have just skyrocketed?
Well, all the collector car stuff. That's what I was saying a little earlier. In the early '90s, old car stuff. You had investors starting to get involved.
Okay.
And that was driving the price up, and has driven the price up on everything.
Yeah.
And obviously some cars, makes, models are more popular than others. Just because it's old or whatever doesn't mean it's really going to be worth anything.
Yeah.
But like in the Porsche world, yeah, any of the air-cooled early stuff is really, really pretty cool. And, with the 993 911s from 95 to 98, like I have, those are, like I said, the last of the air-cooled ones. Yeah. Those are the last of the, like, hand-built ones before they switched to more of like a Toyota assembly kind of stuff. Like they started with the Boxsters, and so it's kind of cool to see the hand work. They still leaded sections together and filed it down to make sure things fit right.
Yeah.
And it's like that's just cool.
Yeah, super cool. What's the price range on those going for these days?
On the 993s,
mm-hmm.
It depends. I mean, if you just have the base two-wheel drive one, price 60,000-70,000.
Yeah.
Real nice shape. If you go with the twin turbos, all-wheel drive, you're going to be looking probably more 160,000, 170,000.
It's worth it.
And
if you can, if you could swing it, it's worth it.
Yeah.
So you guys have your stuff online as well, or social media, or?
No, we don't. The Mission Inn Museum store sells our Riverside themed stuff.
Okay.
Riverside United Way has bought some of my paintings in the past, and they're going to do that again for some of their high-end donors, contributors. But other than that, it's just more word of mouth and everything. Rihanna, we love her in the shop and everything like that too. And it's more of just a hobby. It's fun to do, and
When did you guys first start selling it here and made?
Like I said, I think like 3 years ago. I think Marianne, we like coming in the shop, and she just talked to Rihanna, and I forget what we brought in initially, and then just, it was actually selling pretty good, which you're like, yay.
Yeah.
So then you start doing more and more. So,
right. Yeah. Well, awesome. Thanks so much for coming in, and
Well,
love
thank
your
you.
stuff. And I'm definitely going to have to get a mug, 356 mug for sure. I had missed that before, but yeah, thanks so much.
All right. Well,
Appreciate
thank you.
it. Yep.